So first thing we need to do when we go into this project is activate the virtual environment. We have my Django environment. So to go here, we need to go activate this activate.ps1. So for that, I need to do Django scripts activate ps1. Now I've enabled the Django environment. So first thing we did was we used Django admin to create the project. Inside that, we have created home application with start app. We've added that in settings, home and notes. And we have created templates, models, and views. Initially, we had used function-based views, and we converted them into class-based views. Class-based views will be helpful when we are writing extensible code. Reusing functionality is very easy when we use class-based views. So a lot of code duplication can be avoided if we use class-based views. And after that, we have seen, if we go to settings, we have seen added a static template, base template. Here I've added a base template, and we are extending this base template in all of our views. For using static content, we need to use load static. And if we have static defined here, in our views, we have welcome. Let's just go to welcome template. Is there anywhere we have used static notes list? Extend the base.html. This is how we extend the base functionality. So if the base has this HTML template, this block we are overriding in a specific views here. And if we have used load static, we can actually use static in other views also. If we go to this view, custom node, we are using a static style.css file. So if I have to use static files, I need to declare it as load static in the beginning. This allows Django to load static files into the templates. And this is one way to include or extend the base template. And there is another way to extend the base template also. So let's say if I have defined a welcome page, in my welcome page, I would want something like extra information, some kind of copyright information or something. I can put it in a separate HTML template and include that here wherever I want it. So let's see how to do that now. So inside the welcome.html, I want extra information. Okay, I want to add this list of advantages. Let's say I want to add some heading h2 add advantages of this application. Let's say simple. This template, I can use it anywhere, but I can extract this into a separate template and include that template in the welcome template. So let's see how to do that. Inside the home views, I'm going to add a new view called advantages.html, and I'm going to move this entire block into this block, this HTML. So I need to include this in here. To include that, I need to use a special statement called include. Include takes the path of the template file advantages.html. And if I do npm run, sorry, Python, need to go inside the project, Python manage.py, run server, and I'll access this. We'll go to the browser. These advantages are getting listed here. This is how we include any, let's say I have some other copyright information. I want to include that also. Let's say home copyright.html. I'll create this copyright HTML here somewhere. I'll just do I'm adding a copyright information right now. So I've just included a copyright.html and added this copyright HTML here. And this is what it shows. Let's see if this gets displayed. Let's refresh. And this is coming. This is how we embed one template into another template. So if there is common code, we will choose it in one common template and include that template in every other page that we want to use. Let's say in our end-to-end applications, let's say there is a navigation bar or site navigation bar. So that navigation bar, we'll put it in one template and we'll use it in every other place, every page. So this is how we do reusable components. And there is better ways in React to do that. But this is how we do it with templates and model view template architecture. And next thing is we have done basic class-based views. There is CRUD operations in database, right? Similarly, get, post, put, and delete requests in REST APIs in order to call these CRUD operations in database. Something similar we are going to implement in our model template-based views. Let's go to our code and let's create a view called nodes create view. So far we have done nodes templates. If we go to nodes, views, this has nodes list view, and this has detail view. We have read, only these two are read operations only. We haven't done any create operations. So create operations usually require, create or update operations usually require a form. So a form to fill, and then when the user submits the form, then it gets created, the entry gets created in the database. So let's use that for now. So Django generic views also allow us to have one more view called create view. We are going to inherit the view, this view, and implement our create view. I'll declare a class nodes create view that inherits from create view. Some same as above classes, model I have to define as nodes. Which model object are we going to manipulate in this view is what this defines. Then we have to define a set of fields. So notes, what fields we are going to allow editing or creating. So those fields need to be specified here. So it is an array of field names. So we have notes model. If we go to the notes model, we have title and text. We are going to allow title and text only for create views. Let's say title and text. So these two things need to be shown in a form. And once the once the notes is successfully created, we need to redirect the user to a specific page. So for that, I need to specify success URL. That URL can be slash notes list. So as soon as the note is created, it will go back to the list view to list those all notes. And this view, I need to add it into the URLs. Let's go add that here. We already have nodes path and the URLs, the prefix that we have specified in the my project. If you go to nodes and slash new, this has to go into views dot create nodes create view dot as view. So when we are using class-based views, we need to convert the class into a format that is supported by this path function. So this one, I can give a name to this path. Say I'll just name it as notes.me, or I can say notes.create. New is enough for now. So next thing is see what this displays. Let's go to the UI browser and see if this displays anything. If not, we'll take corrective actions. Notes list view is already there, and new is what I am trying to access. So it is expecting a path with name nodes form.html. This template it is searching for. So we need to create this template and add the form there. So we will go to the code. Inside nodes, templates nodes, I'll create one more template called nodes form.html. And this place, we will add the form. So we will just extend the base template. Extends base.html. And inside the content, I'm going to use block content. I'm going to close the content and block. I'm going to add the form here. So let's go add a form. And we also need a button, submit button. Button, submit. Type submit. We will visit HTML later. Let's say I'll just use it as a submit text. And upon submitting this button, what has to happen has to be defined in the action attribute. So action attribute will have the URL to which the request has to go. So for that, I need to define the URL notes.name. If we see the URLs here, the name of the URL is notes.name for this specific view. And one more thing we need to specify here is the method. So by default, create methods will require post. In forms, we need to specify the action. Action specifies which URL the data that we fill in here will go into, and the method will be defined as post. It will do a post request to the URL that we specify here. Now, one more thing we need to do here is we need to show a form. Actually, the text and title and text fields we need to show. For showing that, we can just use form. It's as simple as this. And there is one more catch here. There is a security feature in Django. If we go see the UI and load this, we will know what problems it will come. If you go inspect here, we can see the title and text here. If we go to the network tab and say some notes, example notes, and submit, and it is showing a CSRF verification error. This is actually trying to send a post request, but it is failing because of forbidden error. This is a security feature in Django. We need, so every form that we submit has to have a unique token. The Django server will send a unique token to the form. So that token has to be passed along with the form data in order for this request to succeed. So this is a security feature. So if there is a middleman who is attacking your payload when you are sending it, if somebody intercepts your request and tries to resubmit, those guys will not have the CSRF token, which is the unique token that is passed by the server to the dedicated client. So that time it will throw a forbidden error. This is for security reasons. So every time we add a form to Django, we need to use this CSRF token inside the form. Let's copy this and let's go to the code. Inside here, we need to add CSRF token also. This form will display the text fields, all the information that we need for the model to get created. And this will populate the CSRF token. Let's go reload the page and see what happens. Running a GET request. If I inspect here, we can see this. There is a field called input hidden field. There is a title field, which is of length 200, and there is a hidden field, so which is not displayed here. This is the CSRF token that the server gave us. Along with the post information, this also has to go. CSRF middleware token. So if I go to the network tab and then submit something, some text here. Text here. And then if I submit, we can see the new request. Post request has gone, and the payload, if we see, it has sent three things: title, text, as well as the CSRF middleware token. All these information has to be passed to the server. And now it has created and it is listing here. So this is how we do create requests. This is how we create new nodes. The next thing then we have to do is create views is done. Then we need to add validation to this code. Let's say if somebody inputs some random HTML into the text or some injection, SQL injection errors and SQL injection code. If somebody is trying to hack the system, we need to avoid that. And also we need to validate if somebody is submitting invalid data, so something like text is empty or title is empty, we should avoid creating empty notes. So that kind of validations we will add now to the code. Let's go here, and in the forms, we will create a new form instead of having this thing. We will create a new form. So for validating these fields, let's go create a new form.py. So forms.py. All the forms with validations we are going to add. So right now we have done everything in the uh, template itself, but we are going to use a specific customized form that is written in Python in this form.html. Let me go import Django. This is a custom form that we are building using the validation functionality of Django. Import from from Django. Import forms. I'm going to create a new. Okay, I'll import model also. Import notes. I'm going to create a class called notes form that inherits from forms dot model form. Now I'm going to declare a meta function, meta class here. This has overriding properties for the model form. So this is all standard template. So once we uh, learn this, then we can dig into Django's code, how this is implemented. So model form treats the meta class. Inside the meta class, we can override certain fields. So I'm declaring model as nodes here and fields, something similar to the way we declared here in the views, nodes create view. Something similar we are going to use in the meta class of forms. So basically when we don't use nodes form or overriding forms, what Django is doing is from this nodes create view itself, it's finding this and preparing this form element on its own. So now we are trying to add validation on top of existing form. So we are trying to override the form generation logic by Django itself. So in the fields, I want to display title and text. This is similar to what we have here in the views. And now we have this. Let's go to the views. So instead of using default form, we are going to override that in the create view. I'm going to use form class as this forms.py nodes form. Nodes form. So this is not imported yet. So let's import that. From dot forms import nodes form. So we are explicitly mentioning to the Django framework that we want to use this form to generate forms. Don't use the default form generator, use this form generator. And if we go here, we have overridden some fields. And this does exactly what we have seen earlier. So now the real part of validation comes. After declaring this meta, we have to declare a function for validating the forms. So by default, any field that we specify here, after submission, it will come to a function called clean underscore and whatever field name it has. So if I declare clean title as a function, this comes to this function. For validation, this function gets called every time we submit some form. The field value, and before that, the prefix should be clean underscore and whatever field name we are trying to submit. So let's filter this. Let's define a title and self dot cleaned data of title. Clean data will have, after submission, clean data will have all the data that we submitted in the form. And in that, this is a dictionary. Clean data is a dictionary. In that, we need to use title element. If it is there, if it's not there, then we should not allow them to create the nodes. Let's say I will add a validation to verify if Django text is there in the title or not. If Django not in title, let's say I will throw an error. So if all the text that we add should have a title having Django word in it. Is validation error. We only accept thoughts about Django. And this validation error has to be imported from forms. Let me search for the package where it is found. I can go to the documentation. Let's go Django validate error. I'm going to import that here. So Django core exceptions. We can't remember all the package parts. That's why we can refer to the documentation. So if Django text is not there, I'm going to throw this error. If not, if everything is fine, if it is there in the title, we'll just return the title. Return title. So this is a validation function that gets called for every single field that we specify here. So if we have title defined, it will call clean underscore title. If we have text, similarly, it will call clean underscore text. So similar to title, we can add one more validation function for clean text. So now I'm not going to validate anything here. I'll just use text as self.cleaned data of text. I'm not doing any validation here. Just return. If we don't override this, by default, it's not needed. If we have it, it will get called. So let's run this server. Go to the UI and let's go create a new nodes. Home class is not permitted. I think we have to declare it inside the meta class. Let's go back and check that out. Here, nodes form. Form class we have to declare in views. Form class we have declared. What form did we import? We did forms.py. Let's figure out what's happening here. Is this correct view we are using? Let's create view. Form class nodes form. Oh, okay, yeah. So if we see the error, let's go to the UI. We have done one small mistake here. This error actually says specifying both fields and form class is not permitted. So what we did in our code previously we hadn't overridden the form class. We had already declared this model and fields. So these two are not required when we are specifying form class. So because we already declared this model and fields and nodes form in meta, we should not give it here. That is what the error is saying. Specifying both fields and form class is not allowed. Let's comment out these two lines. And then let's go back to the UI. Refresh. The template names, the template name. We need to specify template name also in the view. Mm. I'll use my code. I'll just present my code. We need to add template also here. Form class be specified and template name also be specified. Template slash. So when we go to nodes form, if you see this form here, this form element is going to be populated from the nodes form. And we are specifying in the view the template name also. Let's go to the UI. Yes. Now it's working. So let's validate if this submission works without Django text in it. Dummy text. Dummy text. Let's go submit. And it shows that we only accept nodes about Django. So if we go to this, response is still 200. But the error is showing us we only accept nodes about Django. We still have to add one more validation to throw 500 or some other error codes to the UI. But it did not succeed. So it is throwing this error. So let's go display this error in the proper place. Similarly, if I don't use dummy, let's say I will add Django in it and submit. We'll see if this works. It worked. This got created and redirected to the list view. So now the error we were getting was on the first line. Let's go create a new entry sample note. So the errors are displaying here. We want this error to be displayed in the corresponding title element. We'll move that code here. We'll do some kind of CSS manipulations, and then we'll move the error according to which field is having the problem. So if I go to the code, let me go create a new style.css. If I go to static files, CSS style.css, I'll just add one thing called error list. If I inspect the errors in the UI, let's go to the UI. If I inspect this element and see what's the element class name is, if we can see that this is a unordered list which with a class called error list. So this error class is what I'm going to use to not display this error. I'm going to move this error to this corresponding element. Instead of showing all the errors on top, I'm going to show it against this particular field. Let's go to the code and add the class dot error list. Display as none. Display none means don't show it in the UI, in the browser. So I'm going to display it in a separate place in the nodes form itself. If I go here, if there is an error, we can put that. So after this, I'm going to do okay. Here, I'm going to access the error list. If form dot errors, this is how we access the errors if there is any. And if so, all the errors will have a corresponding element name within it. So let's go form dot errors dot. This will have, if there is a title in it, title error, title validation error will come under title object. Text validation error will come under text object. If I go to the views model, this model has text and title. So errors that the validation errors that corresponds to title will come under title. If I go to notes form, it will come under title. So that error I'm going to display here as text. This is a function we can access for getting the errors of title field. Some similar to title, if we have an error for text, we can use it with text. Okay. Now let's show that on the UI. So now we're going to show it at the bottom rather than at the top. Let's go submit. Okay, let's refresh this page. Sample note. It shows this also. So we haven't included the style sheet here. CSS I haven't included. That's why it's still showing up. Even though I've added the hide functionality, display none functionality, it's not showing up. Let's go add that code. So we have this style.css. We need to include this style.css. I'm commenting out this old code. This error, I need to show it. If I go to the layout base.html, I need to include that style sheet also. So let's go include. Sure. Here I'm going to use the syntax URL. Right, it's the style.css. The path of it is in static style.css. I'm going to use a static css dash style.css. And relationship is style sheet. Type text.css. Then this should be enough. Let's refresh. We will go to the browser. Access this page. If we see the head section, we now have the style sheet also applied. Let's submit a sample note. Submit. We only see at the bottom. So that's about validating the form elements. And how about displaying customized form elements? This is by default decided by the Django framework to display this text area and this text item. If I want to customize this and add some styles into it, we don't have a control here in the UI because this form is getting generated by the Django itself. So we can override that functionality in Django code, Python itself. Let's do that now. I go to the meta class and where we declared the nodes form. Inside the meta class, we have the ability to change the style of this text fields or text areas. For that, we have to use widgets. Widgets is a field that we need to give in order to override the text fields or text areas, or any type of form fields can be overridden with widgets. So if I specify widgets, I need to pass in what all fields I want to override. So title field I want to override with the text field that I'm going to use from forms dot text input. Text input is a limited length text field. So text area is another type of form element which has bigger width and height, and there is no limit to the number of characters you can add. So for this, I want to add attributes. Some classes I will put, some bootstrap classes I will add. So I will add it as form control and y margin y direction y5. So this is all bootstrap classes. I will go into bootstrap when we are talking about UI implementation. So I will override text field also to use fonts dot text area. Text area is, I will use attributes. This actually should be a dictionary. So attributes class as a dictionary. I should use. Class. Same thing, form control. Margin y5. So in the vertical direction, give spacing of 5 pixels is what this means. And for the text of the title, I want to show, instead of title, I want to give an override for the text label also. So Let's go labels. For labels, I can specify which field I want to rename. So if I go here, let's see, uh, instead of text as the label, I want to display something like a descriptive text of what you need to specify. Write your thoughts here. So for title, we will get still title. For text field, we'll get the uh, label as this. Okay. Anything missing here? Set object is not subscriptable. Let's close, stop the server and refresh, restart. Text area. That's not text area. Resuming text area. I think we done something wrong here. Text area is the one we should use. Okay, now it works. Text area we should use. Small a. Okay, let's go to the browser. Let's refresh this page. Now it's CSS classes have been applied, bootstrap classes, and this is now looking better. If we see here, it has the classes, maximum 200. And this is good, looking good. Getting the error. And if we change the text to Django, submit, it's good. And if we see, go see the notes new, the label for this has been changed from text to write your thoughts here. But title, it's still title because we haven't overridden this property of the label. This property is label. So that's good. The next thing could be update view. So now we have done create view. We need to see how to update an existing nodes element.